Planet Dolan.
What company passed up the chance to be the biggest phone company in America for 100 years? What record company told the Beatles they had no future in show business? Here are 10 of the biggest missed opportunities in business history.
Hi there, my name is Doopy and I'm here to tell you some really interesting things that you might not have heard before. Number 10.
In 1999, Excite.com was the world's second most popular search engine behind Yahoo. But there was also a new kid on the block with a new algorithm and a new approach towards internet searches, Google. And in 1999, the up-and-coming Google asked Excite if they'd like to purchase the company for $750,000. The stipulation behind the sale is that Excite would replace their own search algorithms with Google's, but Excite said no. So Google went on to ride that algorithm to being one of the largest companies on Earth, and Excite still looks like it did in 1999.
Number 9.
Maybe you wouldn't be that surprised to hear that Kodak invented the digital camera, but you might be surprised to hear that they invented that digital camera all the way back in 1975. The camera, listed in patent documents as an electronic still camera, recorded images of up to 100 kilobytes to magnetic cassette tapes. But Kodak never released it to the market. They were making so much money off of film sales, they didn't see any reason to. So they sat on the prototype, and years later, when digital cameras became the norm, Kodak still continued to invest in film and fell behind in the digital camera market. Kodak declared bankruptcy in 2012.
Number 8.
Back before the Beatles were the most popular band in the world, they were just some guys trying to get a record deal. And when they auditioned for Decca Records, they got shut down like any other crappy garage band. The Decca executives, after an hour-long audition, said that guitar groups were on the way out and that the Beatles had no future in show business. In case you hadn't heard, the Beatles actually went on to have a pretty decent future in show business.
Number 7.
Xerox as a company was way ahead of their time in ways they didn't even fully understand in the 1970s. They had created versions of a personal computer with a mouse and a graphic user interface well before those things were marketable, but they didn't recognize the significance they would have to the computing market. The legend is that Steve Jobs visited the Xerox PARC facility in 1979, was blown away by the technology on display, and immediately set Apple to copy those ideas for themselves. The reality is that Apple was already underway with their own versions of much of that tech before the visit, including the Macintosh computer. But Xerox was years ahead and could have made themselves the biggest name in personal computing years before either Apple or Microsoft did the same. Instead, they're just known as a really big copy machine company.
Number 6.
You've probably never heard the name Edwin Drake, the way you may have heard of, say, the Rockefeller family. See, the Rockefellers made a fortune on drilling for oil, but Edwin Drake is the man who invented the oil drill. He created a method for drilling down to oil, but not contaminating it with the dirt. Once he figured it out, he immediately shared that knowledge with local oil prospectors and revolutionized the oil industry. But because he never filed a patent for the oil drill, he never made any money off of it, and everyone just used the technology for free.
Number 5.
When Alexander Graham Bell patented the telephone in 1876, he immediately offered the patent to the Telegraph Company, the company that would eventually become Western Union. Of course, the owner of the company, which had made a fortune on the telegraph machine, saw no value in the telephone and turned down the patent for $100,000. So instead, Bell ended up developing his own telephone company, which ended up being the leading phone company in the United States for over 100 years.
Number 4.
A long time ago, George Lucas had the guts to bet on himself and his own idea. So he talked to 20th Century Fox about his idea, Star Wars, and traded in his $500 director's salary for the license and merchandising rights to the film. That decision made Lucas literal billions of dollars. Sure, Fox did great on the film itself, but the toys flew off the shelves for years. Star Wars became an empire, and that money all went directly into Lucas's pocket. That gave him the freedom to produce future Star Wars films under his own studio, Lucasfilm, instead of Fox having the rights to those films. And in 2012, he sold Lucasfilm to Disney for $4 billion.
Number 3.
ABC took a chance in 1970 when it became the home of Monday Night Football in the United States. ABC was the lowest rated network in America, and American football wasn't really a draw on TV. That's why CBS and NBC both turned down the offer, as neither wanted to disrupt their evening TV schedules. Monday Night Football became such a huge television success, not only was it the highest rated show on TV, but it also cut into movie attendance on Monday nights, and even bowling leagues moved their meeting nights to Tuesdays.
Number 2.
When Steven Spielberg was filming E.T., he called for a scene where the titular character is called out of hiding with Reese's Pieces. Originally, Spielberg wanted to use M&Ms, but the company turned down the product placement deal. That turned out to be a huge mistake. At the time, Reese's Pieces were a failing candy and may have been on the verge of being discontinued. After the movie, sales of Reese's Pieces went up by 65%, making it one of the most successful movie product placements of all time. Not only did M&Ms miss out on the product placement bump, but they also gave one of their direct competitors new life for decades to come.
Number 1.
In the 1990s, Blockbuster was the king of home movie rental. But the company had been in decline in 2000 when a company called Netflix came to Blockbuster with an offer. Purchase the mail-order movie business for $50 million. Blockbuster said no, opting to instead try their own subscription mail-order movie service. How well did that work out for them? Well, fast forward about 2 decades, Netflix is the king of movie streaming, and Blockbuster is down to 1 store in the middle of Oregon.
What? Don't you, Dawn? Did you know that we have a countdown book featuring some of our best scripts on sale now? Links down below for the physical and ebook versions.
Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.